So first of all, we'll be looking at the designs of forceps which you will be using for tooth extractions. So basically, there are two fundamental designs of forceps. The straight ones are for maxillary extractions, and the one with the blades at an angle are for mandibular extractions. So every forceps, you need to remember the basic parts. You have the blades which adapt to the tooth you are going to extract. This indicates the hinge of the forceps, and these are the handles. So the hinge allows you to open and close the forceps as you may need to. Okay. So these blades will be applied labiopalatally or buccopalatally in the maxillary arch, and labiolingually or buccolingually in the mandibular arch. So this is the basic forceps design. Now, this particular forceps you will be using for the anterior teeth. The blades are straight, and if you open the blade, you can see the width of the blade. So you can see that it is suitable for the central incisor and also the canine. There is a similar forceps which is slightly narrower. The blade is slightly narrower, and you could use it for the lateral incisor. So basically, these two forceps are the same design. The one with the wider blade can be used for the central incisor and the canine, whereas the one with the narrower blade can be used for the lateral incisor, because the lateral incisor is quite a small tooth. And then you also have another one for the premolars, and you can notice the difference that the blades for the premolars are slightly curved. Now what is important is that the concave aspect of the blade needs to face the operator. If you use the forceps in this way, where this convexity faces you, you will not be able to see the tooth, and you will not be able to apply the forces appropriately. So always make sure that this curvature faces you as an operator. So the ones with the slightly curved blades are for the premolars. So central incisors, canines, lateral incisors, premolars, and they can be used for both the right and the left side. The only forceps which are different for the right and the left side are the maxillary molar forceps, and you have a separate one for each side. And the difference is that on one of the blades you will notice a slight projection which we call the beak, and the line we use, the strap line we use, is beaks to cheeks. So this beak needs to rest on the buccal groove. So if I am the operator and the beak is to my right, that would mean that this forceps is for the maxillary left molars. Similarly, on this one, you will notice that the beak is on the left side. So when I use this forceps, I can use it for the maxillary right molars. So always remember beaks to cheeks. This is the only pair of forceps, both in the maxillary and the mandibular arch, where you've got separate forceps for the right and the left side. No other forceps, both in the maxillary or the mandibular arch, they need to be switched for the right or the left side. So maxillary molars, you've got a right maxillary molar, right maxillary molar and a left maxillary molar. Beaks to cheeks. So if the beak is to your right, it's for the maxillary left molars. If the beak is to your left, it's for maxillary right molars. So always remember this. And again, as I said, this concavity or the curvature has to face the operator. Otherwise, you can turn this forceps the other way around and you can use it for the other side. That's not how it works. The only way you will be able to see properly is if you hold the forceps with the right orientation. So these are for the maxillary, and we will repeat. So these are the maxillary molars, the premolars, and then you've got the anterior forceps which have a straight blade. The premolars and the molars have a curved blade. So these are the maxillary forceps. So we'll remove these now, and next we will look at the mandibular forceps. The mandibular forceps, you will notice that the blades are at a right angle to the handles, so you can adapt them to the mandibular arch. So this particular forceps can be used for all mandibular anterior teeth, right or left side. Then you've got another one with a slight step close to the hinge, and these ones you can use for mandibular premolars. Now, if in the competency you use these interchangeably, that is, this one you use for incisors and this one you use for premolars, that is fine. You will not be penalized for it. But fundamentally, this one is for the anterior teeth, this is for the premolars. And finally, you've got one molar forceps for all the mandibular teeth, and you will see that both blades have a beak. So this can be used for all mandibular molars, right or the left side. As I said, the only right and left side forceps you have are the maxillary molar forceps. So these three forceps you can use for extraction of the mandibular teeth. Next thing what we will do is, we will look at how to hold a forceps. So you can clearly see that the handles are serrated. Parts of the handles are serrated, part of them are plain. The serrated part of the handles should rest in your palm. This is palm grip. Okay? You can't turn it around and say this is my palm grip, because this is not very secure. Particularly as a beginner, you might be a bit shaky to start with and you can drop the forceps. So the only secure way to hold is in a palm grip. This is a palm grip where the serrated part largely rests in your palm. You should not hold the forceps right from the bottom because you will not have a secure grip. Equally, you shouldn't hold it too close to the hinge because you will be impairing your vision and you will need to generate a lot more force. So a rough guide is that the serrated part should rest in your palm, and then what you need to do is you need to use your little finger to open and close the blades. Okay, don't try to use your forefinger. That's very common, and it comes naturally that you want to use your forefinger, because the trouble is when you will close the blades, you will trap your finger and then you will have to withdraw, and the whole point of applying the forceps closely to the tooth is lost. So use your little finger to open and close the blades. It's not difficult, as you can see. Palm grip, and once you have adapted the forceps to the tooth, bring your little finger around, close the forceps and rest your thumb in the middle. This will give you the most secure grip. And the same with the mandibular forceps. Palm grip, little finger to open and close, and then once you've adapted the forceps, use this thumb to secure your forceps, because if I've got the thumb here, you can see I can easily rotate the forceps. But if I keep my thumb right in the middle, it will be very secure and I can't rotate the forceps. So palm grip, little finger to open and close the blades, and once you have adapted the forceps to the tooth you are extracting, rest your thumb in the middle on the handles, and that will give you the most secure grip.